I used to be the kind of bloke who used to get up, spend about 40 minutes just doing his hair. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm not actually going bald. Maybe I'm just, sick. And once I get better, I'll get my hair back. Yeah, because I knew one day eventually that I'd get better. Like, I had no doubt about that. But losing my hair because there was nothing I could do, man. Like, I'd run my hand through my head and just pull out 6, 7, 8 strands of hair every time I did that. It comes to that point where you go, you either have to make peace with it, or you can let it take over your life. And I was just like, you know what? If someone who's got 1 million followers or something can do that, make a drastic change, like, who am I not to?
How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the Baldcafe podcast. This is now episode 27. We got a real story on our hands today. We got Tristan joining us from Australia, the first Aussie we've had on the Baldcafe podcast. How's it going, man? It's an absolute pleasure to have you on it.
Thank you for having me, Harry.
Good stuff. So listen, we got speaking, a month or so ago, a couple of months ago. We've been back and forth in the DMs, and you told me, you got quite an interesting story that you wanted to share, and get it out there. And like always, help other guys who are going to be going through similar things. So I know you're a young guy. Let's just start off like we always do. Take me back to when it all started for you, back when it first started. How old were you, and take me back to that time when you first found out that your hair was falling out.
It's similar to most guys that you've had on into your podcast, like most people around the age of 20, 21. So for me, it was personally at about 21, just before my 21st birthday. One of my friends were just like, look, your hair's falling out, or like around your crown. I thought it was a joke like everyone else. We take it and we laugh about it. So after my 21st birthday, exactly, a lot more people started commenting on it. And the only time I realized was when my mum goes, look, your hair's actually getting thin at back. I first thought it was just the way you were cutting your hair, but like we can really see your scalp. And one thing led to another. Like during this whole period, my health started deteriorating as well.
Right.
So the whole premise was that I ended up actually getting quite sick just as I found out as I was losing my hair. So along with the male pattern baldness, I was diagnosed with something known as hyperparathyroidism with parathyroid carcinoma. So like for me, it was bittersweet in the sense that I was like, okay, maybe I'm not actually going bald. Maybe I'm just, sick. And once I get better, I'll get my hair back. And which would like make everyone happy as hell. So I always looked at it in that positive sense. But after the surgery and whatnot, it just didn't seem to work. So like during that period, I started buzzing my head just actually before the surgery. And, because I was just like, it comes to that point where you go, you either have to make peace with it or you can let it take over your life. And I got real bad in the sense that I was quite depressed throughout it going, because you lose your identity.
Yeah.
I used to be the kind of bloke who used to get up, spend about 40 minutes just doing his hair before I head out to start my day.
Yeah.
Because, you want to be presentable. And now just losing that sense of identity and going, hey, how do I do this? Like, do I just get up and roll out of bed? This is the new me. How are people going to look at me? But like, I really liked it, like shaving my head, buzzing my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for you at that time that you talk about the lack of identity, it's uncertainty as well. It's a big change, and you're just not sure. Like how are you going to carry this forward? I want to touch on there. Obviously, you showed me you got the scar there. You ended up having surgery. It sounds like a pretty serious illness, right? Well, you said it was cancerous, right? And so this is actually interesting because one of the things we talk about when we talk about hair loss is putting things into perspective, right? But for you, it's like you've got these two things happening at once. But it sounds like still that the hair loss, even though you were sick, and you've got this big thing to do with, it didn't really make the fact that you were losing your hair and going bald like less of an issue. It made it even more of an issue. It may be. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I've said to people before, and my own father said to me when I told him, look, my hair's falling out, I was depressed about it. He was like, dude, you could be having something so much worse happening to you. The obvious thing we talk about is illnesses, right? Yeah. So just touch on that a minute. Like, what's going through your head with the illness and the hair loss?
So like being the illness, like you never know because it's on the inside. You see, like the first things you do notice is the externals, vanity sort of stuff. So like yeah, losing my hair was probably like was a big gut punch because like at the end of the day, I come from a fairly supportive family, so being sick was never an issue. Like I always knew that I'd get through it, but knowing that I'd come on top of being sick, but I won't get my hair back.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
it's two different playing fields.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like because I knew one day eventually that I'd get better. Like I had no doubt about that. It's just how my family was. They were just like, you'll get there. And we like not once did they give me a moment to sit there and mull over the fact that, oh, you're sick or anything like that. But losing my hair because there was nothing I could do, man. Like I'd run my hand through my head and just pull out 6, 7, 8 strands of hair every time I did that.
Yeah.
And it's the most painful thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like you said,
But
sorry, go on.
And that was the thing where I went, like, I saw some Instagrammer who just buzzed his head, and I was just like, you know what? If someone who's got 1 million followers or something can do that, make a drastic change, like who am I not to?
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember going to that day, going to the barbers and just going, take it off. So we did like a number 2 the very first time, and I just looked at it and I'm like, I think I can go lower. So we did a number 1, and then within a matter of time, I was just going straight clippers. I ended up buying myself a set of clippers and just started doing it.
Yeah.
No settings.
Yeah. And so just touching briefly then on the whole illness side of it, you obviously, like you talked about, super positive about it. You didn't once, doubt like, oh, I'm going to get through this. And you mentioned before we started that in your mind, you were maybe attesting the hair loss to being sick, right? So
yes.
At what point did it change for you when you kind of realized like, oh, like, this is genetic or whatnot, and the hair loss is not just down to me being sick? Because I know there's going to be people that are watching and listening and saying, maybe this guy's different and his hair fell out because he was ill. But obviously you've got better, and I guess you're back to normal, sort of physically on the inside as well, like you said. But the hair loss persisted. So that must have been, I guess, the second blow when you first found out it was falling out. Maybe you thought it was to do with the illness, but actually it wasn't, and it carried on, right?
Definitely, yeah. So, like, I still remember I had my surgery in August. So I'd been dealing with this for about a good 4 months. Just the hair loss and like with everything that came with it as well. So I was like August, and I was expecting at any point from August till September till October, I'm like, any point now, it's going to stop. I'm going to get my beautiful hair back.
Yeah.
And everything's going to go back to normal. But it just never did. And throughout that whole period, man, so like I had a beautiful ex-girlfriend who was not once did she complain about losing my hair, not once did she go, oh, you look different, or I don't like you. If anything, she was just like, you look even better for shaving your head. And like it was all the more motivation that even though eventually I realized, look, my hair's not coming back. But I need to but the original Tristan needs to come back. I can't just be this new person who just sits there and wallows in his sorrows.
Right, yeah.
Because I feel everyone has these moments of epiphanies where they go, look, I don't want to settle for mediocrity. I want to be better. And I feel that was at that point, it was just like, all right, I can sit there and go, I've lost my hair and I've lost a sense of opportunity and I'm not going to go and get things. Or I can be like, look, now this is all the more time for me, put a bit more effort into my appearance, put a bit more effort into the way I dress, my sense of style, and just make that work for me.
Yeah.
And build up my confidence.
100%. You spoke there about being on Instagram and you saw this guy who'd done the same thing, right? Had shaved with the shaved head. But there must have been.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming then it sounds like you were kind of similar to me. Before I found out my hair was falling out, I was a pretty I was confident guy. I wasn't someone to sort of avoid eye contact. I wasn't fearful of crowds, talking to new people. So I guess I always kind of had that in me. But the hair loss thing changed me. And then, like you said, like just dwelling on it, getting all down about it and stuff. And you realize then that you can't go on like that. Was it seeing that person on Instagram that made you change that mindset? Or was there some other things that, what finally said to you, look, you got to take control of this and just get rid of it, just get it done, shave it off?
Oh, it wasn't even the sense of trying to take control. It was the sense of, look, it's gone too far. Like you can be one of the blokes who's got that thin sort of wispy sort of hair down centrally, or you could make this work for you. And it was that time where my dad forced me to go to the barber's with him because he was getting a haircut. And he's like, you have to do it. And I did it, and I was like, all right, it's not as bad as it looks, as I thought it would be. Like, I've got a decent head shape to fit it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's commit to the cause. And eventually it wasn't that sense of, I can now rock this for the rest of my life sort of thing. It was just like, it's a sense of relief, yes, but it was a sense of, all right, this is one step in the right direction.
Yeah. So you took that first step, I guess it is taking action, you've buzzed it off, and that's step one. And you mentioned there taking more pride, in your sense of style, maybe who you are as a person. And we've heard that time and time again with guys who experience this hair loss. And when they kind of decide for themselves, maybe with a bit of encouragement, like you said, from your dad, but it really changes people, but for the better, it really changes people for the better. You said that before, like you take 40 minutes, on the hair and things like that, on your identity. And I think things like that, they go kind of unseen. I was the same when I focused since losing my hair. I've focused more on what I think are far more important things, to us that make us who we are.
Yep.
So talk a bit more about that. How it sort of changed you in what I guess you put your focus on, and what you sort of dedicate yourself to now.
So like I now, so obviously I noted, like, shaving my head, I decided, buzzing my head, I've decided to spend a bit more time at the gym. So I've been training for the last 5 years. So even before I lost my hair, I was training. But ever since I did, I was like, look, I got to make this work for me. Like, I can't sit there. And, I've always cared about the way I look. I always want to put in like that good sort of appearance for people. And at the end of the day, if I look good, I'll feel, and it's as simple as that. But now I've noticed that it's not just about the way I look, it's about the demeanor I put out as well. Because most of the people respond to that.
Yeah.
We live in this era of where people think it's just about the way you look. And don't get me wrong, it is to a degree, but if you walk around with confidence and you've got that sense of swagger, I mean, people just are attracted to you. They come to you. They want to talk to you. They want to get to know you. And it's that whole notion where I've gone, look, this is something that I need to do based on the career that that I've chosen for myself as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So going forward, then, you're still young, right? Are you still 21 now?
I'm 23 now.
You're 23 now. Sorry, yeah. So you're 23 now. Still a young guy. So I mean, talk about that. Talk about your plans for the future and things like that, because there's guys that are going to be watching this, listening. Just how I was when my hair was falling out, I thought my future was done. I thought all those things I want to do, I'm not going to be able to do. So, just, I don't want to get too personal, but what are your sort of plans for the future and stuff like that?
So I am studying to be an osteopath. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, unfortunately, embarrassingly not.
It's sort of the best way I can explain it, and if my mates hear me, they'll kill me for saying this, but it's a mixture of a physiotherapist and a chiropractor together.
Right.
So we're the people who you'd get if you combine the two. So like, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Just, being someone who's really good hands-on, treating people, it's just not about me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like there is more to it than just yourself. And I feel I can lose myself in my training, in my profession, and not just worry about, hey, I'm losing my hair sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think dedicating yourself to those pursuits, whether it's the gym is such a good one, so underrated, because it's something, I said it before, it's something that you can you can literally start right now, right this second, in your front room.
Definitely. Definitely.
And you can make progress in it so easily. You can set yourself so many goals to set, so many goals to smash, and it does so well for your whole psyche, and not to mention your body.
That's exactly it, man. Like, look, if you've got a decent looking body, like it's just going to accentuate those features that you have.
Yeah.
And it's not even about that, man. Like to this day, I now train not even to look good. Really, realistically, I train just to zone out. It's my time for meditation.
Yes.
Where I go in and just like you know it. You go in there. It's not about I need to push out to 200 kilo bench or whatever. You go there to just zone out, get away from the stresses of life, whether it be your hair loss, whether it be, I don't know, your girlfriend's fighting with you, whether it be stresses of work, uni, whatever.
Yeah.
It's that 2 hours where you spend where you can just, it's me time.
Yeah. No, dude, I completely agree. Like, since I started training, like as young as like 16, 17, and it's especially since I've lived in China for this last 5 years, it's the one time in my day where I literally put some music in and I don't think about anything else. Literally, the only thing I'm thinking about is me in the gym. And it's like you said, meditation, it's literally like my stress relief, meditation, and I don't think about anything else. And it's I don't know how it works, but it really, really works, and it does wonders for me.
It's a surreal feeling where, especially like if you go in there, you set your mind to do something and you hit it, like you're riding a high for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And like it's that whole sensation of nothing can bring me down. And like what I've been dealing with this for the last, let's say, 2 years, hair loss. Yeah, 2 years. Mate, like I still have days where I get up and look in the mirror and go, shit, like this, I'm never going to be able to, change my hairstyle, for example.
Yeah.
Like as you can see, I still have like a hairline and everything, and it's still like I'm not going to lie, it still scares me. I'm like, what happens if I do lose it completely centrally?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to? Is it going to look so much more different? Odds are it's not going to look any different because I shave it quite close, anyways. But it's that whole notion of that. And like another thing that I was talking to you earlier about, to touch base. So like I said, I quite recently ended up breaking up with my girlfriend. Of, she was there with me throughout this whole transition period where I had hair to where I lost hair. And one thing that I feel people should really understand or get used to is the fact that they need to accept themselves with their own eyes. I feel this is my point of view, and this is what I did.
Yeah.
Throughout that period, I never accepted me through my eyes. I accepted me through my ex-girlfriend's eyes, in the sense that I'm like, all right, I've got someone who cares for me. I've got someone who loves me. Yeah, look, it is tough losing your hair, but hey, I've lost it. She loves me. I don't have to worry about anything in the world. Like, I've got a partner. I'm set. All I can do is focus on my future, go train. Then losing that person, where you go, it's another identity crisis. You go, hold on a second. I got to put myself out there. Like, I got to put myself to girls. I got to be even more confident than what I was.
Yeah.
And I got to learn to love myself through my eyes, not through someone else's eyes, because I'm not getting that love anymore.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense totally, man. And it's like, because again, it's an element of the unknown, especially when you've had that support. But I want to talk a little bit more about what you said about accepting yourself, and the way I call it is like loving yourself, right? And what happens is, when you fully accept yourself, for who you are, and you're totally at peace with that, it's an unstoppable feeling, because people talk about comments from other people, worrying about what other people think. But if you can truly go to that place where you fully accept yourself for like who you are, what you look like, you're literally untouchable by any comments, any, fear of what people think, because it just doesn't matter. Because the most important thing that matters is how you feel about yourself, Go on.
I said, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I definitely could agree with you more. I feel, and I respect you a lot for this, I feel like you were able to hit that period where you go, all right, this is it. I accept who I am. I accept the way I look quite quickly.
Yeah.
I'd easily say there are days, like, I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
I feel most of the people that you've brought on and on your show have been able to deal with it quite confidently and just go, hey man, this is the hand that I've been dealt with. I've got two options: cry about it or get over it. And they all seem to get over it very quickly. And look, I want to tell people it's not just about that. Like, you will have days where you think you've accepted it. You think like, man, I don't care. I can run with this. This is the new me. And there are days, man, where the slightest thing, like I said, like losing that girlfriend, and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's this whole little thing where I go, maybe I didn't accept myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go back to the drawing board and go, all right, try something like, why don't you accept yourself? What don't you like? Let's fix something. And maybe it's not to do with your hair at all.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to do with the other insecurities, and that you're just trying to project that the fact that I don't have hair, that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I wait for the aeroplane to go. Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, that makes 100% sense. And yeah, I don't wanna play it down like it's as simple as saying, oh yeah, my hair's fallen out, I'll shave it off and I love myself, because it definitely isn't that. I don't want to downplay it, because there's so much that goes into really accepting yourself. We had a recent moment on the podcast where, we had Tommy on, and he said, the first step for someone who's really in the deep with this hair loss stuff is to kind of literally look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, like, why do you feel like that? Is it worth it, what you're trying to do, like holding on to the hair? And you have to go to that dark place that a lot of people don't want to go to. They'd much rather sort of, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to talk about external validation, but all those things are natural to every person, where you get your confidence from. But you have to kind of strip it away slowly. And that's one of the things that losing your hair forces you to do, right? Maybe like a break. For some guys, it's like a breakup. Something gets taken away from you, and that's the thing that forces you then to kind of reflect on yourself. Same thing with hair, You've got the hair, that's you, that's your image, you're happy with that. And when it gets taken away, you have to go to that place and you're like stripped bare, literally you're stripped bare, and you have to think, God, like, okay, so where does my confidence actually come from? And once you can identify that, and that's where things like the gym and setting goals all help. But once you can realize that and go to that, then you can start work on building that true confidence in yourself, and really accept yourself. It's, for some, like you said, it's a big process, but it can be done, man. It 100% can be done for everyone.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. But it is, I feel we all get wrapped up into that notion of it has to be done quickly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
No.
I'm 2 years down, man. I'm 2 years down. And I still have days. Like, I do love, like, there's nothing more right now that I love than waking up in the morning, freshly buzzed head, and I'm out and about. Absolutely love it. I hate having any sort of regrowth on my head.
Yeah.
Like my parents go, oh, maybe just let it grow, see if it grows back to normal. I'm like, I don't even want to risk it. Like, I don't care. I just love it clean.
Yeah.
And but it's always going to be that thing where you have days and you go, let me project it on that biggest insecurity that I have.
Yeah.
And it's something even deeper that people need to figure out. And the fact that they're just projecting it on their hair loss or whatever it is. But yeah, it's always that sense of, like you were saying, external validation.
Yeah.
Where you go, all right, I'm no longer. So, and for me, it was the fact that I lost that partner because I no longer had that external validation.
Yeah.
And genuinely, the biggest growth period for me was these past 2 months where I've gone. I really, as you said, look into the mirror and just get into that dark side and go, all right, why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't I feel like this before? Why do I feel like it now? And then figure it out and just build myself up. And like, for me, it was, you know what? I spent an extra couple of hours at the gym, went that extra day at the gym that I normally wouldn't have. I ended up doing more things with uni, started doing more courses, started doing things to improve on myself. And now I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Like I said, still have down days, but as long as we're still getting those up days, I mean, couldn't be happier.
Definitely, man. It's a process, and it sounds like you're doing all the right things. And yeah, people should. Hang on, I'll wait for the airplane to go over again. So can you hear that as well, or no?
I can.
What is it? Like the...
It's I think it's my processor on my laptop that just keeps
Oh, I
going.
get it. Like it's like a fan, right?
Yes,
Or whatever.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Cool. I thought it was like, oh, you got some like sound effect on the go or something. I didn't realize what it was. No, you're all good, man. You know, it's a process. It's all a process, and yeah, you know, some guys should remember that. For especially when you first shave that head off, don't be disheartened or don't be discouraged if you're not like, oh, I love it, it's brilliant, or you know, you see other people and they shave it off and they feel fantastic. If that's not you, like, don't be discouraged because everyone's going to be different. I feel though that 100% each time someone shaves it off for the first time, you definitely get relief from it. You know, there's definitely 100% an element of relief, and you just have to recognize that and build on it. You know, you're obviously not going to feel 100% amazing every time because it's such a big change. You're worrying about you're worrying about reactions from people, you know, all of those things. And, you know, it's a process. You can work through them. And each time you said, you know, like you go out, you get a confidence boost, you shave it off, you feel good. You know, focus on those things, focus on those parts, and it all builds, especially like you said, smashing goals in the gym, smashing things at uni, at work. And you just rebrand yourself, you know, into this new person. And it's an awesome thing.
I think genuinely, as much as I despised it at the start, I think losing my hair was probably one of the best things that happened to me.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a person who, you know, just a couple of days ago, I was like sitting there having a chat with my parents going like, no one else in the family has ever had hair loss.
Right.
Ever. And then there comes me, and I was just like, at 21, like, this has to happen to me. But like, there are days where I look at it, I've gone, you know what? If I would have had hair, I wouldn't have done those things.
Yeah.
I would have sat back and just gone, oh, it's one of those things. Let me settle for it. Now I've gone, I've lost my hair, but I've not lost an opportunity. So let me go and strive to do things that I normally wouldn't do. Put myself in awkward situations. Put myself to, you know, to do this, for example. It honestly, like, give me a couple of months ago, I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have approached you to go, and especially be on YouTube in front of 10,000 people and be like, I want to share my story, and hopefully they can pick something off of it. I would have never done that.
Yeah.
It would have been. I would have looked at this opportunity and been like, you're taking the piss.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to talk about that briefly. That's something that I literally thought about today as I was walking my dog. There's something that can be said for all the people I've had on this podcast, or all the guys who have watched it, all the guys who have DM'd me that said they've shaved it off. You know, these guys are taking these chances and stuff as a result of, you know, just building up the confidence to kind of accept the hair loss and rock it bold. I feel like if you were going down the route of trying to hold on to it, you know, with the drugs, whatever, you miss out. Like, you miss out on that opportunity to be like better than you were when you first, you know, when you had hair. I can't like put a single word on it or like a single sentence on it, but you get what I mean, right? It's like I'm seeing time and time again, all these people say the exact same thing that you just said. Like, I built up the confidence to accept it, and now I'm doing all of this stuff that I never would have done if this whole balding and hair loss thing had never happened to me. And I think we shouldn't forget that. That's quite an interesting and important thing.
It is. Like, I know exactly what you're trying to say. Like, I'm trying to put it into words there, and you just can't.
Yeah.
It's this intangible thing that happens after you do something that you never thought you would have had to do. And then you go, you know what? I've done this thing that I never thought I'd have to do.
Yeah.
So why not let me do other things that I don't think I would normally do?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It just it changes you as a person, and it changes you in a good way. And you know, again, the guy who's listening to this and watching this, and you literally, you know, your hair's been falling out, you hate it, you're doing whatever you can to kind of cover it up, and you're thinking, I will never be happy bald. Like, what are these guys talking about? Like, I promise you, I'm not making this up. You know, all these people that say this stuff are not making it up. Genuinely, you can be a better person through going bald. Like 100%, no doubt in my mind.
And the one thing that I love to touch on is the fact that people get afraid that when you go bald, oh, I'm not going to be able to pull chicks, or I'm not going to be able to date the same way, or whatnot. It's how you deal with it. I guess it's how you portray yourself with it. And like I said, when I walk out with a freshly buzzed head, I feel on top of the world. And this is not me tooting my own horn or anything like that, but I do get those looks that I notice that people go, it might not even be the shaved head. It's probably just the way I carry myself. It's that sense of confidence. But it's never like, it's just having that confidence. I noticed when I first started losing my hair, I was so submissive. I was just like, but it was all right because like I said, at that time I had a girlfriend or whatever, and I was just like, it was okay. Now I was just like, I can't be like that. I pushed myself to do things, and like it's that whole thing of having that, just holding yourself high up, holding yourself to the highest standard, and it won't affect you negatively, definitely, or as bad as you think it would.
You know, just be proud, right? Being proud of it, like strength comes through these adversities. You know, it's a chance to grow. It's a chance to learn. You know, no one improves themselves if they never face challenges. And you might be thinking like, this is the worst challenge. You know, what is this? Some kind of sick joke, right? Like, why can't I have another challenge? Like, I don't know, fall over and break my leg or something. Like,
we've all thought that. We've all been in that same chair, just looking, like praying to someone above, going, "Mate, what have I done to deserve this? Why me? Should I lose my hair?"
Literally. But you know, it's so, and I know it's going to be so hard for those people to like tune into this way of thinking, you know, because I have to be honest, I only thought this way after I'd accepted it and after I decided to just get on with it, you know, and shave my head and not go down the road of trying to hold on to it. And so I can 100% appreciate that there's going to be people that think like just can't, you know, get in that frame of mind. But just have faith, you know, keep an open mind to it. Have faith, you know, it's not a coincidence that we've had, you know, 27 and going on people just on this one YouTube channel, not to mention the Instagram, not to mention my DMs. You've probably had it yourself, you know, people asking you about it, or you know, other bald guys when they give you the sort of like, the nod of approval or something, you know. It's not a mistake.
It's a surreal feeling where you see someone who goes, you're rocking that shaved head well. And you just go, fuck it. I am rocking that shaved head well.
Yes. 100%. I can't agree more. It's a beautiful feeling, and I think, you know, I just hope that's what we're here to do, right? Share these stories, and just one by one, help get these people to that place of confidence, of acceptance, you know, and peace, you know, just being at peace with it.
That is probably the one thing that we need. People who lose their head just need to have that sense of peace, because I still remember that very first day, man. Like it was yesterday, where I sat there and you're just thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and you just can't stop. You go to bed, you have dreams about, you know, fuck you, you've got your hair back. You wake up and you're like, oh no, it's still thinning, it's still falling. Oh no, I've got that many hairs on the bed. Like, it's just that, shave it off, man. Shave it off and you'll not notice that strands of hair on your bed. It's that sense of, holy shit, I don't have to worry about like hair on the ground or hair in the shower. It's just that sense of, I can go on with my day without having to be meticulous about these little things.
It's, you know, I know, and it sucks like when it's happening to you. But talking about freedom and talking about peace, you know, whilst it's going on, it just keeps you trapped in that frame of mind, like you said, just sort of sat there. You know, I did the whole filming it every day, like checking the progress, like, you know, how much more bald am I getting day by day, and you know, as it keeps you in that negative like space, right? And listen, I said it before, you'll guys will know when they're ready. You know, a lot of people say, when should you do it? When should you do it? Like, you will know when it's time to let go. You know, because we talked about the rock bottom, or, you know, something will happen and it will force you into that reflection. And then you'll think, yeah, like, I can't go on like this. This is just getting way out of hand, you know? And I think the sooner the better, but you'll know.
Yeah, I did mine fairly quick. Like, I could have gone through, combed it off like certain ways and go, oh, you can't see that I'm losing hair. But I just got to that point. I'm like, mate, I don't want to get up in the morning and spend that extra time where I'm like, I got to be a bit more meticulous about, you know, how I shape my hair. I can't let wind get into it. It was that time where I'm like, it needs to be done. And thank God for my family. It was just like, do it. And ever since I did it, man, I've never I have down days, but I've never looked back at shaving my head. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you obviously didn't regret it. Like, you don't regret taking that action, you know?
Yeah, it gets to me that I don't have hair from time to time, but I don't regret shaving my head by any sense of the term. Yeah. It's probably the best I've ever done.
Do you think on those days where you kind of feel down or feel bad that you don't have hair anymore, do you think it's because sometimes you might find yourself comparing, like, how you look now to when you had hair? Because we've spoken about that before. Like, I think a lot of things guys do is, rather than just seeing it as like a completely fresh start, I guess when it's still new, you're still kind of thinking back, like, you know, oh, like, this is what it was like when I had hair, or this is how my hair looked. Like, I know I've done it, you know, I've done it in the past where someone's asked to see a picture of me, like, just even 2 years ago, where I've got my hair, and then I show them and I kind of think, like, damn, like, I look so different, you know, I look so different. But what do you think? You know, but I shouldn't compare mine now to how it was with hair, because how I am now is, you know, I'm no worse off. I'm not less happy. Nothing like that. It's just different. I just look different.
Well, and that's the thing that people get stuck on. It's like anything. It's trying to compare, you know, relationships with one another. Yeah, you can never do that. You can never do that. It's you're always going to get something that is slightly different, and they're both unique at the same time. But you never know which one's better till you stick it out and find out for yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel that's the same thing when it comes to having hair. There are times where I've looked back and gone, man, I wish I could go back to that time. But like, it's never something that has kept me up recently. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, when people go, show me a photo of when you had hair. And like, the thing that has helped me the most is the fact that when people have gone, look, you look just as good, or if not better, with a shaved head. And that's, for me, that was the biggest factor that I've gone, hey, like, regardless of how I feel about this, there is someone out there who thinks I look better without hair. All right, if they think like that, why can't I think like that?
Yeah.
They don't even know half the things that I've been through. But when they can come to that conclusion, why not work on yourself till you can come to that conclusion?
Yeah. Do you know? I know this is a bit out of context. Do you know who you remind? You're obviously into the gym. So do you know who Larry Wheels is? You must know who Larry Wheels is.
Yes.
You remind me of Larry. Like, you look a bit like Larry Wheels. I was just thinking there, like, yeah, no, seriously. Like, he's obviously got his hair like super, super short, right? Even maybe buzz. I think it looks like he goes with like a 1 and then like a 0 on the sides even. But yeah, that's what I was just thinking when you were talking there. Sorry, but yeah, you look like Larry Wheels. For the people on the YouTube, I'll put a picture, or if you're listening, go Google Larry Wheels and you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's a big compliment. But no, yeah, that's who you remind me of. So listen, I want to talk a little bit more then. Let's round things off with, you know, some pieces of advice that you can give the people watching and listening. You know, going through how you felt back then. Pick out a few of the key things that have really helped you. First of all, to take that action. You know, it sounds like you had good support from your family, so you must have spoken to them about it. And I know a lot of guys don't do that so much. They kind of bottle it up. So that could be one thing. And, what gave you the confidence to build up to taking that action? And then how are you working on now to kind of carry that on?
So like the biggest, like, I didn't mention this because it never really hit me till today properly. The biggest turning point was, I remember I was laying in bed, like I was sick, like I had bone pains. I used to like with all my sickness and my hair falling out, and all I kept worrying was my hair. And I still remember that day when my dad comes into the room. I've barely seen my dad ever shed a tear in the nearly 60 years he's been alive.
Yeah.
He came in the room with tears in his eyes, just going, don't, like, it's okay. Don't cry about this. It's not worth your time. And like, I saw how my lack of confidence or my lack of acceptance was affecting the people around me.
Right.
And it was then that I went with my dad. I was like, I have to take this step, if not for me, but for someone else. And then you go, you know what? Like, you look at the bigger picture. You're not everything is just about you. Like, yes, you are the main person, but like, think about people who love you and who care about you.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the big thing that got me through. But at the same time, like I said, it's that double-edged sword. Like, you got to be careful, because if you accept yourself through their eyes and they go away or whatever happens, you have that second sort of identity crisis going, hey, I no longer have that person who used to love me like that, or who used to love me for me. Because I don't know how to love myself. You got to find that fine line where you want to make them happy and make yourself happy, and learn to love yourself as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's fairly. I'm not usually this philosophical or deep.
Yeah. I mean,
but yeah, like that.
It sounds like what you're saying. Saying there is, you got to find that you got to find your own, I guess, outward like motivation for taking that action. For you, it was the people around you, right? That helped you take that first step. Some people might be able to do it just for themselves, in that first step, which of course would be ideal. But I guess, look for that outward sort of motivation on why. Maybe think more about why you should take that step of, just getting rid of this, closing that book for good. But try to think of reasons why you should do it, maybe. Focus on those reasons. That's a good thing. We haven't spoken about that before. Yeah. If you're sat there and you're sort of down, feeling bad about the hair falling out and you're losing your hair, maybe, focus on reasons why you should just shave it off and get on with it, At least to take the action.
Well, that's exactly. Yeah, like whatever it takes to get you to that point where you go, I need to shave it off, do it. And for me, like I said, it was my family. And when I did it, it was that sense of relief. Like, yeah, I look good. Oh, yeah, I feel good. And ever since then, man, I've never looked back. I've never looked back and gone, I wish I want my hair back that badly. No, like it's never occurred to me. Yeah, I've, like everyone else, I've gone to that process where like, oh, let me try minoxidil, or let me think about finasteride. But you know what? Screw it. Just believe in what you want to do, and just fucking rock the shit out of it.
Yeah. Believe in what you want to do. Believe in yourself. Because again, you got to think why. If you're there, like, why would you do that? Why would you need to take that minoxidil or whatever? Why do you need to take the drugs, or why do you need to take that hair transplant? I mean, this again, we're talking about all sorts here, but I think it's good. When I go back to the UK, I want to sit down with like a hair transplant surgeon or whatever, and I want to look at them and say, why does someone need to get a hair transplant? Like, why do you think someone should get one or need to get one? And I think it's just an interesting thing how people would answer that question, because at the end of the day, like, people are going to talk about, oh, well, it's going to give me my confidence back, but then putting your confidence in your appearance, because people generally tend to do that for that outward, validation. It's a dangerous game to play, it's a dangerous game to play when you think like that.
It's that whole notion of what we talk about acceptance. It's and like I said, it was not accepting yourself for who you are, and for me that was. It was not too long ago where I thought about like minoxidil and stuff like that, because I didn't accept me for me. I accepted me through someone else's eyes. And then it's just that matter of you got to accept you for you.
Yeah.
And most people, I feel, I could be very wrong in saying this, most people, when they get their hair transplants or that finasteride, it's not for them at the end of the day. They believe, my confidence goes up. But it's for the other people that look at them that makes them feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, you'd know this right now. Like, you don't give a shit about what other people looks. If they look at you a certain way because you don't have hair, it could not affect you in the slightest way possible.
Yeah, just like I don't care how other people look. It's the same kind of thing. And because I know that there's no, how do I say that? There's no like strength in thinking like that. There's no longevity in it. But if you put your confidence like in who you are, like that's what's the best. That's sustainable. That's just, you can sustain that literally forever. If your confidence comes from you, like who you are and what you want to do, like here on this earth or whatever. I'm not one to get all philosophical too, but it's for real. Like if you can put your confidence in that, in who you are,
I'm bringing that up.
You are. That stuff lasts forever. You don't need to be getting surgeries or taking drugs to hold on to that confidence,
And look, for me, what I did was like another step that I really did was look at people who are similar to you, and like whether it be, like actors or things like that, who similar skin tone or similar head shape, and see how they rock it, how they dress it. And that's how I got through it. Like, I looked at people like, Morris Chestnut, Taye Diggs or whatever, and they didn't hesitate once. They shaved their head, they accepted it, and now they rock it.
Yeah.
So what makes you different? You don't have to be in that limelight. You're not in the public that much. Why are you so worried about it when they didn't?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Look for, I guess, wherever that motivation is going to come from, wherever you're going to, whatever's going to make you because that's reflecting on yourself. You're looking at someone, this guy kind of looks like me. You can use that to kind of reflect on yourself, and I guess start to try and change that mindset, and think like you said, oh, well, that person can do it, so really there's no reason why I can't, and like we mentioned before, it's about building on it, right? You build on it and just close that hair loss chapter for good. However you're going to get it closed, just get it closed, because the alternative of fighting it and all that stuff, it just isn't worth it. It really just is not worth it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not worth the brain power. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the money.
No.
Just accept it, as hard as it may be, and it probably, for most people, probably be one of the most toughest things they'd have to do in their life.
Yeah.
But look, the way I see it is, if you accept that, man, you can accept anything the world throws at you. Like, you become invincible to a certain degree. You become invincible. Like, it doesn't matter. You can go do things no one else, like the old you would never have done.
Yeah. No.
So why not? Why not get to that stage and do those things?
100%. And you know what? I almost think like it's a lucky break. It's like, when you hear about people saying, as horrible as this is to talk about, but someone's like loved one or something will die like suddenly or whatever, or they'll get like a horrible illness, and then they talk about, oh, I started like really living my life from that point, like they needed that reality check. Well, I don't want to compare those two things, but in a sense, like losing your hair as a guy, not even young, as a guy, losing your hair is like a soft approach to that. It's like it kicks you into that thinking of like, okay, like, what is really important and how am I going to, carry on from this point? And luckily for you, it's only hair loss that's changed that mind frame, and not something awful like some, incurable illness or someone dying or something, It's just a change in your appearance. Yeah.
And that's the thing. People hold too much weight the way they look.
Yeah.
And it's like you can still look good with no hair. have you spin that book at the end of the day? It is your destiny. Why not spin it to something that works your way? The cards have been given. Make them work for your favor.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, work with what you've been given, and like you said, that's a good point. Use those in your own favor. This has certainly been a deep episode, Tristan. We've covered a lot of different things, but I think it sometimes you have to go down that road and really think about it, and hopefully what we've talked about today can give people confidence to do the same. Really think about where they get their confidence from, and really think about what is important to them. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, there might be some people that want to reach out and get in touch and ask some questions. So maybe I'll pop your Instagram down in the comment section for the YouTube, in the description. Sorry, if you're okay with that. Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out. Good, thank you. So listen, man, I want to thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And to anyone who's watching, all the people watching, I should say, all the people listening, we'll be back again with more stories, more podcasts to help these guys, help you get through this bowling bravely, confidently, close that book once and for all. We will see you in that next episode. Goodbye.
I swear I like your style. Put you in Chanel cause it's just perfect for your smile. Girl, I swear for you I'd run the world, I'd run the miles. The way you look at me, I think I'm going